What's up, fellas? Welcome back to Convos over Cold Brew with me, your host, Emma Abrahamson. Today we are talking to Bowerman Track Club athlete Grant Fisher. He has had a phenomenal last few months after qualifying to the Olympics last year. He just recently set the American record in the outdoor 10K and the indoor 5K. He had a phenomenal collegiate career at Stanford, and today's episode was really fun. We get to know him a little bit better. We talk about a lot of different things in this episode, honestly, so I hope you enjoy it. All right, Grant, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you on. And you've been a highly requested guest, especially since your big couple races that you've had, the American records that you've set recently. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the invite on. Yeah, I'm excited. I think this will be a fun little chat.
Yeah. So, okay, to get started, do you want to just give us like an intro of who you are and what you're about?
Ooh, okay, very open-ended. Yeah, my name's Grant. I was born up in Canada, moved to the US when I was about 5, grew up in a small town in Michigan. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And I went to Stanford, ran track and field and cross country there, loved my time there. My little brother's actually there playing soccer. He's a junior, so I try to get down to those games when I can. I played a lot of soccer growing up, so has a special place in my heart. He's living out my old dream. So sometimes I get a little FOMO, watching him play. Not that I could have played D1, I wasn't that good. But anyway, yeah, graduated in 2019, moved up to Portland, Oregon. Been training with the Bowerman Track Club ever since. So yeah, living the dream. It's been a fun, I guess, 2.5 years as a pro. And it's been a fun past couple months too. I've been having some breakout races for me, so that's been exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've already been on, the top end of elite running, but like you said, the last couple months have been incredible for you. So I kind of want to take it the way back. You said that you grew up in Canada, or you were born in Canada.
Right.
The only April Fool's joke I fell for this year on Twitter was someone saying that you were going to run for Canada now. That was the only one I actually fell for. And I was like, that's like really odd. Like, why would he choose to run for Canada, I guess, when he lives here? But then I realized it was an April Fool's joke. But I guess, why did you end up leaving Canada?
Yeah, so left Canada for my dad's work. The family moved to Michigan. I actually have no like extended family in Michigan. We moved strictly for my dad's job. All of my family's in British Columbia in Canada or in Texas. So we were kind of isolated out there. So I actually it made me get very close with my siblings and my parents, which was great. But you didn't get to see like grandparents and cousins and stuff too often.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, the April Fool's joke was pretty convincing because Athletics Canada, which is, if people don't know, is like the USATF of Canada, reached out and wanted to do a full press release and stuff. So
Okay, then that makes me feel less stupid then, because I really felt dumb for believing it, but people still believe it. I don't think they realized it was an April Fool's joke, because when I told people to submit questions for this episode, people were asking why you decided to run for Canada.
That's funny. Yeah, it was pretty convincing. I mean, some of my family were convinced and were calling me, depending on what side of the family they were on, they were either excited or angry.
Yeah.
Because half my family is Canadian and half is American. So
Yeah.
yeah, funny stuff. I didn't think it would make as many waves as it did, but yeah, a wide variety of responses.
Yeah. So could you run for like Canada then if you wanted to? If you were like, okay, bye USATF, I'm gonna go join Athletics Canada.
I really could. I have dual citizenship, so I have the option. I think now that I've represented the US, I have to wait like 2 years or something before trying to represent a different country. But I mean, technically it is on the table. And I think that's what made it believable. Like, if people knew I had the dual citizenship,
Yeah.
it's not like this would be impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've lived in the States since I was 5. Like, I feel like an American, so
Yeah.
I feel patriotic. So I like to represent the U.S., but
Yeah.
Canada is on the table, I
Yeah.
guess.
Would you like ever do it? I guess what would be the draw to do it?
um, I don't know. Go back to my roots. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a bucket list item to run for
yeah,
your home
maybe.
country.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was it like being raised in Michigan? I don't know anything about Michigan and like Michigan
Mm.
running too. I have no idea.
Yeah, Michigan, it was a fun place to grow up. I lived in a small town called Grand Blanc. It was a suburb of Flint, Michigan. So you're kind of like everyone in Michigan. I guess you said this is audio only, but you make the little mitten in your hand, you point to where you're from. Have you ever seen
Okay.
Michigan people do that? I guess only you can see this, but I'm
Yeah.
from here.
Okay, I got
Like,
you. I got
yeah.
you.
And yeah, it was awesome place to grow up. The winters are pretty snowy and cold. The summers are pretty warm and humid, but just a beautiful state all around. Just tons of variety and places to go. And I have a lot of friends back home that still live there. So I don't get home there as often
Yeah,
as
I was gonna
I
ask
would hope,
how
but
often are you going home?
yeah,
I
well,
know
well,
what kind of
since
schedule Jerry has you guys on. I don't know how you would ever make your way back there other than holidays. I guess maybe.
yeah, I'm on Jerry time now, so I get my like 2 months a year where I can do whatever I want, but for those 10 months we're pretty locked in. And since my little brother graduated high school, my parents have moved to Austin, Texas, so
Okay.
um, a little less of a draw to go back to Michigan. Like usually holidays and stuff, I want to go to my parents' house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most of my friends have kind of moved out of the town that I grew up in, so
Yeah.
there isn't as much draw, but yeah, Grand Blanc will always be kind of home, even though I wasn't like born there. I was definitely raised there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get into running? I know you said that you played soccer. I also read your Wikipedia before coming on here, so need to scan for accuracy there, but I'm guessing you started with soccer. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, that's a very good prediction for pretty much any runner.
Yeah.
Most people don't go straight to running.
I did.
But
Well, actually I went to swimming first, but I never did soccer ever.
really,
Yeah.
wow, that's rare. Um, yeah, so I played soccer because my older sister played soccer. So I was always tagging along to the soccer field. So I kind of naturally fell into that. I started playing when I was like 4 or 5. And I played soccer up through my junior year of high school. That was my last year playing.
Oh
So
geez.
even in high school, like freshman, sophomore year, junior year, I was doing both soccer and running. So in the fall, we had cross country season and school soccer season. So I would do both, um,
That
which
sounds
was
so
kind of,
exhausting.
I don't know how my parents did it or how I did it. Like thinking now to doing 2 practices, and school would start so early. Our school started at I think 7:20 a.m. every
Oh,
day. I don't know how we did that, but yeah, I would usually do school and then uh, go to track or cross country practice depending on the season, and then to soccer practice, and then home for dinner.
do you ever think
Um,
back to those days and think about like how much energy you had as a kid?
oh
Because
yeah,
I like did the same thing for a while. I was swimming and running at the same time. And in high school I played water polo and ran at the same time. And I did the same thing and I was like, how did I have enough energy to go to 2 separate practices basically back to back, maybe with like an hour in between? I don't understand.
yeah. Kids are so resilient. Like I'm, I'm not like that old. I'm 24, but like I'm like, man, I feel so old. Like I have to do so much activation and warming
No,
up
that's
to
what I
even start
mean. I feel
running.
like when I hit 22, I was like, oh my goodness, my body's like creaking now.
I know, I
When I was
know.
18, I was on top of the world. I could do anything. I didn't even have to stretch or anything. I was invincible.
Yeah, I remember being like 14 years old, and like my mom would drive me to soccer practice, and you just put on your cleats in the car and then hop out the door, and you just be on the field doing like full playing. Like you didn't even have to worry about getting hurt. It was,
I
those were
miss
the
those
days.
days.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't know how good we had it, man.
I know.
Yeah.
So, which one did you like better, I guess? I mean, you ended up picking
Mm.
running, but did you just do that because you were better at it or what was your vibe?
That's a good question. Yeah, so I started running in 7th grade because I wanted to get in better shape for soccer.
That sounds about
Um,
accurate.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna run. And some of my friends did cross country in in middle school. So I was like, oh, I'll hang out with my friends and do this thing. We were probably running 5 or 6 miles a week. I remember our long run was 2 miles and we would
Oh
complain
man.
about it. My eighth grade year, I was getting tired of how grueling those 2 mile long runs
Oh,
were.
I
So
can only
I
imagine.
I switched over to pole vault for a while during track season in eighth grade. I was a pole
Wow.
vaulter. Yeah. My PR was 7 feet.
That's
Uh,
great.
yeah.
Honestly, congrats. That's probably better than most distance runners. So that should
Yeah.
be like your fun fact that you go into any like running situation. Just say that your pole vault PR is 7 feet, and people will probably be impressed. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know how when you pole vault, the pole bends and stuff, like I was
yeah,
so young and light, it was just like you just kind
it
of
just flung
topple
you
over, you know?
over.
But yeah, my heart was definitely in soccer at that point in my life. And through high school, I started to kind of shift. I really started to like running a lot more. I just kind of like the idea of being in control more of your own destiny, and you didn't have to wait for a coach to sub you in or have a ref to blame if something doesn't go well, or
Mhm.
like things like that. And cross country still kind of felt like a team environment, which I really liked. And I don't know, my heart started to kind of shift to I really want to run. And I think, if you asked me my freshman year, like if I would be a runner or a soccer player, I for sure would have said soccer.
Yeah.
It was just like way more fun. You had like the creativity of it. You can do different things on the field. Whereas in running, you can't be too creative in a
It's very
race. Like,
monotonous.
yeah, it's pretty linear. But yeah, like I said, like I still love soccer. I still watch a bunch of it. We were at a Timbers game yesterday. It was super fun. I love watching my little brother play. But yeah, through high school, started to fall for running a bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turns out I realized I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Kind of
Wait, when
had,
did you realize? Because you were like obviously one of the best high school runners basically ever back then. So when did you start being good? Like, were you good right off the bat when you were doing those 2 mile distance runs in middle school? Or did it kind of take a while to find your groove?
I did have some early success in middle school, like in our county, I guess, or like dual mates and
Okay.
stuff. But for what that is worth, when I got to high school, I started to have success like track season my sophomore year. Um, I actually skipped the state championship my sophomore year because we were in the state finals in soccer the exact same day.
Your track
Um,
coach probably hated you for that. And also
uh,
hated your soccer coach. I was talking with Caitlin Toohey last week, and we had the same conversation where soccer coaches and I think cross country, just like distance coaches, hate each other because they are always feuding.
yeah, my coaches actually got along pretty well, although the track and cross country coach was always trying to I wouldn't call it poach like athletes from the
Yeah.
soccer field, but you're always trying to like recruit those guys like, hey, didn't make varsity this year. Would you rather do JV soccer or would you rather be on varsity cross country? Try to recruit over. But yeah, the coaches at my school were pretty understanding. I was pretty lucky.
Yeah.
And so yeah, my sophomore track season, I started to realize, yeah, I could be pretty good. And then my junior year, I had a massive breakout and started running really well, and carried that over to my senior year. So I yeah, definitely lucky to, you know, it, I feel like you definitely like things as a kid more when you're good at them.
Well, of
And I
course,
was
when you're
certainly,
when you're
and
winning races, it
I
feels
wouldn't
much
say when
better than
you're a
when you're
kid,
getting
I'm
pummeled to
still
the
that way.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, was it, would you credit your training to kind of that breakout season, or was it more just you enjoying running more and stuff?
Um, I'd say it was a bunch of things. Yeah, I was enjoying running more, and to go along with that, I was training more. I was cutting out more soccer and replacing it with more running. So I was doing like a more a full running program,
Yeah.
and then I would play soccer kind of on the side. There was a point where I was just showing up for the games, uh,
Sounds about right.
which was, yeah, maybe a little disrespectful to the other guys on the team. But yeah, I would just pull up to the games and that was it, and
Well, at
then I'd
least
just
you
do
were
running
fit
training.
enough to run back and forth down the field.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I had that in the back pocket. But
yeah.
um, yeah, I definitely started training more. My heart was more in it. My focus was more in it, and I was just older. Like high school boys, like when you're going through puberty and stuff, like you don't
You just get
really,
better.
yeah, it's kind of unfair. Like you
I
just,
know it is. I'm
yeah.
like, wow, must be nice. But yeah. I mean, you ended up being really good. I was reading on your Wikipedia for the stats part that I don't really know off the top of my head that you were the 7th American high schooler to break 4 in the mile. So that was pretty cool. Did you, I guess, expect to break 4, or was that kind of like oh my goodness, I just made history?
So I had run well my junior year. I think I'd run 402 my junior year. So I was like, hey, if I keep this trajectory, I think my senior year I might be able to dip under 4. And I actually tried to break 4 indoors at the Armory. So if you want to watch an embarrassing video of
Oh
me,
no.
I'm racing at the Armory at the I think it was the New Balance Nationals, and I'm all alone. I don't think, yeah, I was almost on 4-minute pace. I had maybe 50 meters to go, and I tripped on myself and like fell off the track
Oh my
and
gosh,
like
I need to
stumbled
watch
onto the
this.
infield. Yeah, it's quite embarrassing. So um, yeah, that was a low. But yeah, so I tried then to break 4, and I tried again at my state meet outdoor to break 4 both times, coming up short. And then the third like big attempt, I finally got it, and it was super exciting because that was a big goal of mine. And there are a lot of really really good runners that I put my name alongside. So that was an awesome feeling for like just a wide-eyed high school kid.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
like the generation coming up where, breaking 4 in high school was like unheard of, kind of. I feel like your generation, I mean, that's basically my generation too. We started, I mean, I was not breaking 4, but it's just started to become more normalized. But now I look at high schoolers and I don't even understand what they're doing because people are insane now, running insane times. What are your thoughts on high schoolers these days? Like Hobbs Kessler or whatever he ran. I don't even know what his mile time is. I don't think I want to know. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. Kids these days, they're doing some crazy stuff. The guys on Bowerman like to remind me that sub 4 isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
That
I
like
mean, it was legendary though. It was, but it isn't. I mean, it still is, but it's not as legendary, which is sad. But
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see how many people are dipping under now. I think you kind of get like this cascading effect of like you see one person doing it, it really opens your eyes. Even when I did it, I wasn't the first guy in my class to. Matthew Maton broke 4 like maybe 2 months before me. And so I don't know, you kind of get like this effect of you see one person do it, and maybe you have better information about training and stuff. And I do think high school kids in general are better trained than they were 10 years ago. People are just like a bit more scientific and dialed in, and yeah, it's cool to see. I mean, if you're able to do something special, like why not go for it?
yeah.
Yeah. So the guys like to get at me and say like, you know, tell me I peaked in high school and stuff, but then also say that like running under 4 minutes like isn't special anymore. So they like to take their digs, but I still think it's cool.
Yeah. It is cool. I was gonna say it was cool, but it still is cool. It's a good memory to have. Do you ever get scared that you're gonna get beaten by a high schooler anymore? I know a lot of pros
Oh,
are.
yeah. I mean that is a fair concern. Yeah, when I broke 4, I was in a pro field, and I'm sure like now as a pro, like it's just a lose-lose situation when you're like racing a high schooler, because it's like if you beat them, it's like, oh, big whoop, like you beat a
Yeah, it's
high
like you should
schooler,
beat
like
them.
yeah. But if you lose to a high schooler, it's like, man, you're a professional, you're getting paid for this, and like this kid's going to school and like just cooked you up. So um yeah, I was on the other side of that before, where like I was the high school kid, like annoying the pros. But yeah, now I'm the pro, so I got to have my guards up. You can't
Yeah.
can't get too embarrassed out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool to see. I feel like U.S. distance running in general. I mean, I follow it more on the guys side than the women's, but the women's side too. I saw the 5K high school record just went down. Also
That
crazy.
actually
What
made
was
me
it,
want
like
to throw up.
15:25 or
15:25. I
something?
was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. She also raced one of my like really good college teammates who won in 15:22, which was a good time for her. So I'm like, how are high
Yeah.
schoolers running 15:25? That makes me want to throw up.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, kids these days, I don't know what's
Yeah.
up, but they're going crazy.
Yeah. What's your opinion on like high schoolers skipping college and going pro?
Mm. Um, I think for the right person, it's the right move. Like I think a good example of it working well is like Ajay Wilson, going, I think she's only like 27. I feel like she's been on the top of the scene for like 20 years, but uh, yeah, I mean, pro out of high school and like had a great trajectory, great coaching, and is still like on top. She just won a gold medal at World Indoors. I think there are times where some development in college, whether or not you stay for all 4 years, if you're really, really good, just a few years for the development and the racing of NCAAs. The level of NCAAs keeps getting better and better too. So it's not like you're racing a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah.
Like
Those people are
it's not
pretty
like,
good now
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I loved my time in college. I'm so happy that I got a college experience, and those 4 years at Stanford were some of my favorite years of my life so far. And I'm best friends with so many guys that I met there. So um, I wouldn't trade my college experience for anything, but I do think if you're really, really good, like Audrey was, maybe skipping college could be advantageous in the long run.
Yeah.
Um,
And depending on
but
how much that contract is
yeah, true, true.
being waved in
Yeah,
your face.
fair. Yeah.
Quick little intermission here to talk about one of my favorite long-term supporters of the podcast, Green Chef. Green Chef is the first CCOF certified meal kit company that makes eating well easy and affordable with plans to fit every kind of lifestyle. So whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, or you're just looking to eat healthier like me, there's a range of recipes to suit any kind of diet or preference. Green Chef is hands down the #1 meal kit for eating well, with dinners that work for you, not the other way around. They have a Mediterranean preference that packs together fresh flavors and premium proteins, and they offer 24 always changing recipes to choose from every week so you never get bored. Every single Green Chef recipe I've ever made has been absolutely phenomenal. There literally hasn't been one that I haven't liked. My favorite thing is getting my Green Chef box in the mail and knowing that I don't have to go to the grocery store, because the Green Chef saves you so much time by cutting down on weekly meal planning, prepping, and grocery shopping. It's so nice finishing a long day of work and just knowing that I'm gonna have the easiest time making the most delicious dinner, and you don't have to go sit in those long lines at the grocery store. It's so convenient. It's all pre-portioned, easy to follow, and delivered right to your door. Right now, you can go to greenchef.com/coldbrew130 and use code coldbrew130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. That is greenchef.com/coldbrew130 and use code coldbrew130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. Now let's get back into today's episode. Well, why did you choose Stanford? I mean, you probably had the world was your oyster coming out of high school, so why Stanny?
Why Stanny? That's a good question. I visited Stanford, Villanova, Princeton, and Wisconsin. I took unofficial visits to Michigan and Oregon.
Go
so
Ducks.
Go, yeah. No, I won't say that. You can say that, but I won't say that.
Wow, okay.
I really liked the team environment at Stanford. One of the guys that I'm currently on Bowerman with, Sean McGordy, was at Stanford when I visited, and his whole class I really vibed with on my visit. Really liked them. I felt like they had a really nice balance of like having fun but also working hard. I'm a bit of a nerd, so the school component was important to me. And yeah, those are big things in my decision. I was a big fan of the coach, Coach Milt. He now coaches at UNC. He's not at Stanford anymore, but I felt like he had my best interest in mind. And really, when I spoke to him, it seemed like he took a very long-term approach to training, and could understand the workload of a student athlete at Stanford. So I felt like I saw eye to eye with him, and I felt like he understood me, and I thought we could really work well together. And yeah, I'm super happy I ended up there because, like I said, it's such a fun place to go to school.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Seems like it turned out pretty well. So I think you
Yeah,
made
yeah.
the right decision.
No regrets for sure.
It's good to hear about Coach Milt though, because every single person I've talked to about him says the same thing, like with a long-term approach type scenario. Like I talked to Steve and I talked to Elise, and they both say the exact same thing, which I feel like is rare for a college coach to kind of have that approach, because they're trying to maximize, that 4 years that they have so they can get their little bonuses or whatever. So it is always nice and refreshing to see someone like at Power Five, if that's even the right term. I don't even know the
Yeah.
the lingo or whatever. Have that long-term approach. So I guess like how did Coach Milt and you kind of like handle the pressure of coming in as such a good high school runner?
Yeah. There was a lot of pressure. I was a bit lucky. Like the whole social media thing wasn't really as much of a thing when I was in high school. So you didn't have as many eyes on you as I think kids do now. So there's just a little more pressure now, but those are the early days of like flow track and mile split and
Yeah.
runner space, kind of
I'm
early days
so
stuff.
glad that we grew up without social media. I can't even imagine what it would be like.
Yeah. I feel like if I looked at like some of my tweets as like a 10-year-old or something, like I would be super cringy. So I'm happy I didn't even have the option. Um, yeah, I think the pressure thing, another reason I picked Stanford was because I was able to come in and not be even close to being the best guy. I didn't want to go to a program where like I was going to be like expected to put out great performances as like a freshman and stuff. Like I didn't even work out with the top group until like my sophomore year. Um, Things like that, just keeping me out of like situations where there's super high pressure. Not having a team that was like make or break on me. Where I had like a lot of older guys to look up to that really took responsibility over the team and accountability over what happened at NCAA cross and stuff and through the season. And we had great team culture. And I think Milt was careful with, he was able to portray a really high expectation for people without adding extra pressure. I think it was a great understanding of like, you and I know what you're capable of, and I think you can do great things. And it's going to take a lot of work and maybe several years. But all that matters is like us, the team, the coach, all that outside stuff. It's just noise and talking.
Yeah.
I'd say like even the famed letsrun.com wasn't as big of a thing maybe back then. So that was good to stay off of, as an 18-year-old kid, maybe reading the opinions of the anonymous message boards.
Yeah.
Not the best thing for the psyche.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. What was your favorite memory of your college experience?
Ooh.
It's like such a big question to ask.
Yeah, that's open-ended. I'd have to say the preseason camps. I know you guys would sometimes go to like Bend, I think.
Yeah, we'd go to Bend for like 2 weeks or like 10 days. It was long.
Yeah, I'd say those preseason camps. My freshman year, we went to Mammoth, and then we went to San Diego, or we went to Mammoth twice, then San Diego, and then Bend my senior year. My favorite one was Mammoth though, my freshman year. It was just so cool to be like up in the mountains with all these guys that I honestly looked up to months before. And now I'm teammates with them, and you have all these team traditions and stuff, and you're doing all these fun activities, and you're a freshman, so like everything's new. You're meeting all these new people, all the people in your class. Like that very first camp was just so much fun. And I think if you ask a lot of people on the team, they'll look back fondly on those camps too. I'm sure you guys had your own team traditions and stuff at the camp and like all the team bonding stuff. But oh man, that was so fun.
Yeah, it was always fun every year to come into camp too, because it would be a whole new team and a new team dynamic kind of, because you had new people. I don't know about you, but every single year of college for me was a different like team vibe. I don't know if that's because we had such a small team, so you had people leave and then people replace, so it really did change the dynamic. But it was just fun to meet everyone that was new and stuff. And then I'll like when you were a freshman, like you said, everything is so new and you're just hanging out with all these people that are super good, and it's very overwhelming, but like super exciting. And then it's just interesting to kind of see how that evolves, and you like see the new people come in at camp. It really is an experience that's unlike any other, which, I mean, you guys go to camps now with Bauerman, but I'm sure it's not the same.
Yeah. The camps now are a little more, I don't know. I don't know if professional is the right word, because trip. That's a little too obvious.
And they're months long.
They're a bit more like dialed in. Like these preseason camps in college, they're, you don't have school. That part's awesome. You're kind of operating like a pro because all you do is run and hang out.
And that's probably what also made it so fun, is that the school element was gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And like now when we're at camps, like you kind of want to stay off your feet as a pro and like don't want to be doing all these activities. But in college, like you're like, man, I'm gonna go out, we're gonna do this hike, we're gonna go float down the river, we're gonna go drive to this lake, like we're gonna go I don't know, sneak out at 1 a.m. and go do something stupid. Like it,
Uh-oh.
yeah, we're yeah, we were absolutely, wild cross country kids, but if you can even say that. But it was I don't know. Yeah, I agree with what you said. Like the team vibe just changes every year. Like the turnover in college, you only get 4 to I guess now like 7 years. But usually like 4 to 5 years.
I feel like people I race in the NCAA that were literally like seniors are still racing. And I'm like, how are you still in the NCAA? Is what I want to know. You're older than me. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely feel that way sometimes too. But yeah, the team vibe itself, yeah, it changes. And like each time it's a new group and new personalities and new people to get to know. And yeah, the vibe of it changes. And that's fun. But I mean, it's sad to see like some of your friends graduate every year pretty much, but you get some fresh faces and some new people to meet. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading on your Wikipedia that you majored in engineering, electrical engineering, someone said.
Yeah.
That sounds difficult. Was it?
It was very difficult. It was a grind. I was really interested in it, so that made it, a little more palatable, but like it was hard. There are lots of hours that I was grinding away that probably were not the best thing for running,
a little detrimental to the training regimen.
Yeah. I had to stay 2 summers and take summer classes in order to graduate in 4 years. I couldn't take a full regular student course load and train at the same time. It was just like too much. So yeah, I had to take fewer classes during the year and then like take classes in the summer to graduate in 4 years. So yeah, nerding out. Yeah, I did a lot of like programming stuff in college. So I actually really enjoy coding and programming and stuff.
Oh my gosh, no way, me too.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I literally majored in business, so at University of Oregon. So I definitely don't know how to code, but sounds really interesting and cool, and would love to pick your brain about it sometime.
I'm sure you can pick it up if you wanted to.
Yeah, if I wanted to, I could probably learn how to code. But do I want to do that, and why would I need to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So do you see yourself becoming like what do electrical engineers do? This is so bad. I don't know anything about engineering. So
yeah, all good. So most of what I studied would set you up for like a software engineering job. So most of the people I was in class with, went on to be programmers for like a lot of the big Bay Area companies.
Sounds about right.
So that would be the buzzword like Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, like Salesforce, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be what my degree would have set me up for. Obviously, I'm not really using that right now as a pro runner, but maybe someday I'll get back to the tech world.
I was going to ask, like, do you want to do that after you're done running, or do you want to run forever? Are you going to be that like 100-year-old man on the starting line being like, back in my day, I studied engineering, but never used it?
Yeah, I'll be the like guy trying to break the 100-year-old or the 100 and up record and be like reposted by USATF. No, I mean, I'd like to run professionally for as long as I can. Some of that won't be up to me. Like at some point, your body just kind of can't take the training anymore. Like someday you're washed and like you can't be a pro anymore. So I know that'll come.
Washed. You wake up and you're washed. And you're like, I guess my contract's up.
Oh yeah. Hopefully it doesn't go that way. Hopefully it's a little more gradual, but I know eventually this will come to an end, and I could see myself getting into the tech world again. After that, I don't think I would want to be the guy that's like training insanely hard when you're like 45, but I could see myself like trying to stay in shape, but I don't think like I'd go full hardo like
masters.
Running ultras and stuff. Or masters. Like I don't think that's me.
Yeah. Hey, at least you know that now. You can focus on the
Well,
now, not worry about your ultra marathon career after. So
yeah, exactly. I'll try to run as long as I can, and then whenever that's over, then figure the rest of my life out.
yeah. So you went to Stanford 2.0, aka Bowerman Track Club.
Right.
Did you go there because your entire team basically went there, or I mean, obviously the team is very good, but why did you choose Bowerman?
Yeah, having a lot of old teammates was certainly a perk. You just feel a little more comfortable and a little more natural. It was nice my senior year when I was looking at professional groups and professional options. I was able to call up, some of my old teammates, so that like Sean and Vanessa and Elise, and pick their brain about, what did you like about Bowerman versus these other groups, and they gave very candid answers. I appreciated it. Like they weren't just like selling Bowerman on
Yeah.
me. They like told me all like the pros and cons, and then pros and cons of other groups and stuff. So that was super helpful. I mean, one of the big things that sold me on Bowerman was just they have incredible athletes, incredible training partners. I really wanted to be an environment where I was going to be pushed by people that were better than me. I mean, there were people that I really looked up to on the team. Evan Jager, I really looked up to him. You had Centro just join the team. I really looked up to like Ryan Hill. You had Chris Derrick, another Stanford alum. They had really good athletes. Mohamed just had come off of a silver medal, or sorry, a bronze medal at the World Championship. So yeah, I wanted to be around really good guys, and I wanted to be in like a high level environment. This group I don't think is for everybody, just because like it is pretty dialed in, and like you have to go to altitude camps for like 80% of the year, and so
Yeah.
you don't really have the freedom that you might in other groups, as far as like going where you want, or like
Yeah, like you
eh,
said, you're on Jerry time.
yeah, you're on Jerry time for sure. So I knew what I was getting into, and I knew the training was hard, and kind of like I mentioned in college, like my college coach had a really long-term approach, and so we might have been a bit more conservative. But then I was like, as a professional, like there's not really another level to prepare for.
Well,
You might
your
as
ultra
well
running
go all
career
in.
after you're done.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing the long game. Yeah. I'm getting ready for the ultras when I'm 50. But yeah, those are some factors that drew me in.
Yeah. How is the training? I guess different from college. Is it, I mean, I honestly, Chris and I, when we were living together, like I never really asked about her training. I knew she trained a lot, and I know it's very strength oriented, but like how much of a difference is it for you from college to pro?
Night and day difference.
Really?
It's so much harder, and it's like so much more volume, and like quality volume. So in college, where I might do like 5 by mile, as a pro in Jerry's group, like I would do 10 by mile, at a faster pace. And so
Oh my.
that the transition is kind of tough,
Yeah.
for a lot of people that come in their first year, and I struggled with it a ton. I mean, you go from, if you're in this group, you probably were pretty good in college, likely the best on your team, or fighting for top spots in NCAA's. So you're kind of used to being at the front, and then you come to this group and you just get hammered. Like
You get dropped every
you get
workout.
dropped all the time. It wasn't until my fourth altitude camp that I finished a workout.
I
I
hear horror stories from the Bowerman altitude camps, especially
yeah,
people's first ones.
yeah,
It sounds horrific, to be honest,
yeah.
but I guess you just get used to it, and then you obviously run well. But I guess like, how do you like overcome that time period where you're just getting destroyed?
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, mentally and physically, it's
Yeah.
really hard, because you're getting killed in these workouts. Jerry certainly doesn't baby you. It's kind of like trial by fire, he calls it, which
Oh.
is a pretty hot fire. So yeah, you kind of have to get beaten into the ground and fall apart before you can build yourself up with this group. So you really yeah.
Running
Yeah,
sounds so fun. This sounds
does that
amazing.
make
I
it
love
sound
pro running.
enticing? Yeah. And so, yeah, during that breaking down and falling apart period, that's like where your teammates are really important, and your friends and family and stuff. Leaning on them and like talking through things. And my first year, I had great mentors on the team. Evan, Evan Jager and Ryan Hill really took me under their wing when I first came out. And then my first spring with the team, the pandemic hit, So that was like spring of 2020, and Mo and Lopez really took me under their wing and really encouraged me and kind of showed me the way, and picked me up when I was, you know, just getting wrecked. We actually broke off during the pandemic into small little workout groups, and so everyone was. If you remember, like March and April of 2020, everyone was pretty freaked out by the pandemic. Nobody really
Yeah.
knew what was going to happen. So we broke off, and the only people I saw for about a month and a half were Mo and Lopez. And I would easy run by myself, go back to my apartment. I had my own apartment downtown at the time, so I wasn't living with anybody. And then I'd go to the track and just get absolutely murdered by those two. Um, and so
That
they,
sounds so depressing.
it was a hard time for sure.
That sounds
Uh,
awful. That sounds
it,
actually awful. And then meanwhile, the world is like falling apart and you have no idea what the future is going to look like.
yeah, it was a pretty scary time. But wouldn't say that was like a high point. I look back now and it's like, man, that made me into who I am now. But
Yeah,
at the time, it
see,
was like,
what
man,
doesn't
that
kill you
sucked.
makes you stronger.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly. But yeah, the guys like they help you along, and the thing is, they've been there before, and so like some of the new guys that join the team, I'm like, hey, I've been there before. Like I've been in that position where you can't even get to halfway of the workout,
yeah.
and you think to yourself, man, I want to be racing with these guys in the summer and doing just as well as them, but how am I going to get there when I can't even finish a workout with them? But it's important to stay the course and believe in yourself, and have good people around you that will help you along. So
Yeah.
made it through. I survived.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the team that like has done really well in that time period, like the first, rookie year, that they've just been able to just hop right in and
Mm.
crush the workouts? I know you're pretty new on the team, so you've probably only seen.
Yeah. I had heard that Carissa did really well her first year. I think her first year culminated in Doha. So I think she made the world team her first year,
Okay,
if I
shout out
remember correctly.
Carissa.
Yeah,
Go
so I'd say
off.
Carissa's probably rookie of the year, all-time rookie of the year on Bowerman
Okay.
for that performance.
I'll shoot her a text after this video.
Yeah.
She's gonna be so confused. Congrats on getting an all-time rookie of the year.
Yeah, a massive honor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you said that you've come out of it now. You've obviously accomplished a lot already. Were you kind of expecting to, have that big breakthrough pretty soon? I mean, you're still obviously very young, so I guess, yeah, were you expecting the success so soon? And also, what now?
No, I wasn't expecting it this soon. When I graduated college, I really wanted to break 13 at some point as a pro. And if you look at how things usually go, people's peaks in as male distance runners are usually like late 20s, like probably
Mhm.
27, 28 years old. So I was like, man, if I can break 13 at some point in my career, like I'll be pretty stoked with that. That'd be pretty cool. Um, and so to do that this February, I was kind of shocked. It kind of I knew I was fit, but it's sometimes hard to like have a full gauge on your fitness, like put a number to it until you like actually run a time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was super stoked with that one. So yeah, I had a good year last year, and kind of had a breakout season even last year,
Yeah, a good
with
year. A good year going
yeah.
to the Olympics.
Yeah, so yeah, that year came at me fast. I thought I had an outside chance of making the Olympic team going into last year, and then as the year went on, my confidence grew and grew, and then found myself in two Olympic finals, which is a dream come true for any kid. Like when you think about running, the Olympics are the pinnacle of the sport.
Mhm.
So just to be there was so cool. And so I was like, man, if I can build on that, I think I'm set for another good year this year. Just gotta stay healthy and be smart, and things will come. And yeah, it's been a great start to the year.
Yeah,
I
it's literally just getting started.
yeah, that's the thing. The stuff has been great, really great so far. But everybody in the entire, I guess, running world has their eyes on the world championship. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of steps that need to be taken to get there. So some very, very exciting like stepping stones early this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully some more stuff this summer.
Does it scare you to have run so fast already? Or are you like, I've got more in the tank?
I hope that I have more in the tank. I guess you don't know what the future holds always. Like, I mean, there is like somewhat of like, you don't want to be the guy that like peaks out early. Like, I mean, you see that happen sometimes. Sometimes it's in people's control, sometimes it's not. Um, you know, Running's kind of a fickle thing. Like, people can develop injuries pretty quickly, and that can haunt you for an entire career. So, yeah,
Gosh,
try,
that sounds so
try,
morbid.
I wasn't trying to make it sound that bad, but like trying to count my blessings is kind of what I was trying to get across.
Yeah.
Like, things have been great so far, and I don't want to project too far into the future. I just want to take things as they're coming and enjoy things, because I've been having a lot of fun this year.
So what's your goal, I guess, for the World Championships then?
Well, I need to make the team first.
Okay, that is a good goal to have, I guess, to start.
So
But
first goal would be make the team.
yeah, beyond that, if you do make the team, if you happen to make it, what is the agenda?
The goal would be to try to be in the hunt for a medal. Wouldn't have said that a year ago. I think I would have been more like, try to get to the final and then, be more of a passenger in the final. I just try to survive, which was more my tactic at the Olympics. That it was like, hey, just try to survive out here. But now I feel like my confidence is at a point where I can kind of be more of a force in these races and be near the front and battle it out with guys that I thought were on another level just a year ago. And I see myself able to be in a position where ideally I can fight for a medal. A couple of my teammates have medals, so I'd like to grab one too.
Yeah, so they can stop, I don't know, calling your high school your peak. So you have to show them up a little bit.
Yeah,
Because the
exactly.
records aren't enough. You need to get a medal.
I mean, medals are, if you ask most people in the sport, they'd say they'd rather have a medal than a record. And I think I'd agree with them.
Why? Just because I guess records go down, and then how many people are really looking at second place, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, the records go down. Yeah, maybe there'll be like a super spike in like 10 years, and then everything's done.
This just in, Grant just admitted that it is the shoes.
The shoes are helpful. They're certainly helpful. They're so nice.
I haven't worn them. I want to wear the spike I'm not racing a track race. I do not sign me up for that, but I want to try the spike because I just want to feel what it feels like. I mean, I've worn the Alpha Flies, the Vapor Flies or whatever, but I want to try the spikes.
Yeah, the spikes, just so comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, they're just comfy. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you can just train really hard and it doesn't beat you up the same way. And then even in a race, like, you get to that final kick and you're not as like pounded into the ground, just because you have a little more comfort in foam and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think I'd rather have a medal than a record, an American record. I guess like a world record. I feel like I'd rather. I guess this is kind of pie in the sky. Like, yeah, world record's pretty freaking hard to get. But
hey, you never know. Don't set limits on yourself, Grant. Okay.
Yeah, good point. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just remind yourself of that.
Yeah.
That's my tip of the day.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, well, I don't want to keep you on for too long, but we have some interesting listener questions. A lot of them were asking various questions like stats about running, but I feel like you've answered those in every other podcast that you've done. So we'll make it a little bit more exciting. A lot, honestly, like a really good majority of the questions or people just inquiring, they were asking if you are single or if you will date them.
Yeah, I am single. Will I date them? Sure.
Oh my gosh.
How many people did I accept?
I don't know, like 15 probably. You have 15 significant others now, so
perfect.
Yeah, that's a lot on your plate. You better be able to handle that.
Can make it work.
Okay. Have you ever struggled with injuries?
I've been pretty lucky. I haven't had a ton. The the thing that has repeatedly come up in the past 2-3 years for me are calf issues and Achilles issues. I strain my calves pretty easily, and it can be pretty frustrating because I just have become accustomed to like what it feels like when you strain it. So like when it happens, I'm like,
You
oh
just
shit,
know.
like yeah, you just know. My remedy for that has been a lot of treatment from our PT, but I'd say the thing that's helped the most with that, if anyone has been struggling with calf issues, I know it's not like what I've gone through might not be the same exact injury as what you get, but loading the calf with just like exercises has been super helpful. Like I do lifts with my calf probably like 3-4 times a week, loaded up pretty heavy.
Calf specific lifting.
Yeah, yeah, very very specific calf lifting, like whether it's like straight leg for like the gastroc or with the knee bent for the soleus, that has saved me. Yeah, I think that I keep doing that because I feel like it fends off the calf strains, but that's my nagging injury that always comes back.
That's good advice. Do you have any race superstitions?
I always tie my right shoe before my left shoe,
Okay.
always. And if one of them comes undone, I have to like untie both of them so that I retie the right one first and then the left.
Why?
I don't know.
How long has that been a thing? That's like inconvenient.
I did that in high
Okay,
school.
wait. You're on a run. One of your shoes comes untied. The entire team is waiting for you, and you're like, "Oh, sorry. Let me just untie my other shoe and then tie the right one first."
Okay, it sounds ridiculous, but I first of all, my shoes don't come untied that often. I tie them very well.
Yeah, I was like,
so
maybe
that doesn't
double
happen.
knot them. Have you ever heard of that? Or
So they're double knotted, but if the left one came untied, then I can go straight ahead and retie the left one because technically the right one would be tied before the left. But if my right came untied, yeah, the left would have to be undone. But it only really on race day. I did it. I think one time when I was in high school, like I feel like when I was in high school, I was super superstitious, like trying to do all this like random stuff. And then if I had a good race, I'm like, man, it was because like I don't know, I tied my right shoe before my left. And that one for some
all
reason
credit
has
to the
stick.
shoe tying.
Yeah. I think it worked. One time I had a good race after I did that, and I was like, man, it had to have been that.
I guarantee you at least one person picks up that habit now from the listening to this podcast, and they're gonna credit it to you. So what's the least favorite workout you've ever done?
Oh, least favorite. Probably like fast long runs, like with specific paces. I'm not as big of a fan of those. I'm not as good at those, so that's probably why I feel that way. And like those ones early on when I was a pro, like when you struggle on those, you're just like aimlessly grinding away by yourself as
That
like
sounds so bad.
The pack goes away. I feel like every time I'm describing like what running is like, I'm focusing on the bad parts, but
no. It just sounds hard, but that makes sense.
Yeah, those ones are tough.
I also just asked you your least favorite workout you've ever done, so it's not like I'm painting this in the positive light,
Yeah, I've fought some demons on some long runs just out there by myself, just getting dropped by the boys, but I'm better at them now, so I don't get dropped as much. But
still fighting demons.
I'd say long runs. Yeah, the demons are still there.
That sounds hard. That just sounds like it destroys your body too.
Yeah, they're really hard. They get you very strong and fit, and like when you do feel good on a long run, it feels like you can go forever, and that's such a cool feeling, So you have the opposite end of the spectrum where it's just like, man, this feels so easy, and I'm crushing like 5:15 pace, like you're just floating along, like, or it doesn't matter what the pace is, like those sometimes you get that feeling of like I can go forever.
And like someone's pushing the pace a little bit and you can keep up with them, or like you're the one pushing the pace and you're like, I am invincible today.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you see someone in the back behind you literally dying and you're like, that sucks.
Yeah, it couldn't be me.
And literally next week it is you and you're like, oh, humbled quick. Okay, what does a day in the life look like for you?
I won't go into too much detail because I feel like these are like fast-paced questions.
I mean, this is pretty much the last question, so you can go into as much detail as you'd like.
Okay. I'll go for a day in the life, like just an easy run day.
Okay.
So wake up like 8:00, get some food. Usually I'll eat like a bagel with some peanut butter, glass of water, do some activation drills, get out the door at 9 for a run, meet up with the boys. 70 minutes is like our standard easy run. So we run 70 minutes. Usually it's pretty light, but we'll sometimes push the pace a little towards the end. Lots of banter and conversation and, just kind of chatting. And then finish up at the track a lot of times, do some drills, do some strides, and then back to the house, get a quick bite to eat. Usually, again, something like smaller but a little more substantial. And then head to the gym, do a gym session, back to the house, have some like real lunch. Then it's usually like 1 o'clock, maybe 1:30, and take a nap. And I sleep a lot. I kind of hibernate. Like I'll probably nap for like 90 minutes almost every day. And then I still even sleep for like 9-10 hours at night. So like half my day is sleeping. I'm kind of like a full koala mode, Anyway, after I wake up, chill for a bit and then back out the door for a double, probably like 35 minutes or so. Then back to the house, whip up some dinner, and then it's chill time.
That sounds like a very standard professional runner day in the life.
Yeah. So it's a fun life. I enjoy it a lot. I mean, this is like the dream life. It's so fun. So fun.
Do you have any hobbies? I hate asking this question, but I always need to know, like, do you have any secret hobbies that you have? Because every pro runner that I ask says no, basically, because that is their life, is running, which makes sense. But sometimes people have secret little hobbies.
Yeah, my first like year and a half as a pro, my secret hobby would be programming. Just like making little games and stuff.
Well, that's fun.
Since then, I'm back in school. I'm in a master's program now, so that takes up a decent amount of my free time.
Wow,
so,
you couldn't handle just being a runner. You have to add the school back in.
I know, full nerd mode. So yeah, back in school, that takes up like usually my evening. Like I'll watch a lecture and like do some homework stuff. So that I wouldn't say that's a hobby, I guess, but
no, but yeah. that takes up the rest of the time, like what you're doing
exactly.
in the PM.
Yeah.
Where are you going to school? Is it all online?
Yeah, it's all online. It's at Stanford. I was in the program when I graduated, but like I took years of absences when I started running pro, and then because of COVID, they moved a bunch of classes online. And so I realized I could actually do the degree fully online. So I hopped back in and working through.
How much more do you have left?
I'm just about 20 units down, and it's a 45 unit major or master's. Okay. So I'm like, I don't know what that would be, like 40% done.
Yeah, you're approaching the halfway mark.
Yeah, getting there.
Wow.
Getting there. I'm trying to graduate before my brother, or at the same time as my brother.
Yeah, wait, because you only spent 4 years at Stanford, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you started the program when you were there?
I was accepted for my 5th year, essentially.
Oh, but you didn't take your 5th year.
But I opted to go pro and then put the master's on hold.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why I needed this and that. Why did that conclude the podcast? I don't know, but there we go. We have the full Grant Fisher background, and I cannot believe you're going to school still, but props to you. Get that master's degree.
Thank you. Thank you.
Break world records. Okay. Well, actually, no, I have one more question.
Yeah.
What piece of advice do you have to your younger self?
Like take a step back sometimes, and when you think things are super important or there's a lot of pressure on the outside, take a step back and realize like you're doing this because you love it, and like all of the pressure in the world like shouldn't matter. It just matters like what you think and what your coach thinks and your teammates, and remember that like joy of running that first got you into it, when the times get tough.
That is good advice. Running is supposed to be fun. So
exactly. Yeah.
Love that. Okay. Well, where can people follow you at? I know you're a social media star. You post every day on there. So.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on my social media actually.
It's gotten better, I will say. Not that I I'm looking at it every day, but I can tell it has gotten better. You're posting more.
Appreciate that. Yeah. It's been a side hustle. But my Instagram is probably where I post most. Grant Fisher _ is my handle. Grant Fisher taken. I keep hoping that the guy like gets rid of the handle.
You like sign his DMs, like, I will pay you.
Yeah. What can I do to get that? But yeah, that's probably where I post most. That's the best way to follow me.
Well, there you go. All right, Grant. Well, thank you for coming on the show. To close out the episode, can we get a good old peace out, fellas?
Peace out, fellas.
Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode of Convos Over Cold Brew. I hope you enjoyed it. It was really fun getting to know Grant a little bit better with a couple fun questions there at the end. I really enjoyed this episode. It was very easy to talk to Grant, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts if you love the show, and, spread the word to your family and friends. That means a lot to me. So thank you all so much for listening, and I will catch you all next week. Peace out, fellas.